Okay, welcome to this explainer where we are going to unpack a truly revolutionary framework for understanding our internal conflicts. If you've ever felt like you're literally fighting yourself, or if you're just totally exhausted by the endless cultural pressure of self-improvement, you are absolutely in the right place. Today, we're going to completely shift how we think about the mind. We're moving away from this idea that you need to be fixed and looking toward a powerful concept known as self-led leadership.
So let's just dive right into a super simple but honestly really profound question. Right now, who is driving the bus inside me? It's such a brilliant way to frame a really common human experience. I mean, have you ever noticed how a part of you wants to wake up early and change your life, while another part of you aggressively smashes the snooze button? Or maybe a part of you desperately wants connection, but another part completely shuts down when someone actually gets close. We so often feel like competing versions of ourselves are just wrestling for the steering wheel of our lives. And that whole experience? It beautifully illustrates the internal family systems model, or IFS for short. This research maps out the mind not as a single solid block, but as an ecosystem. Picture your mind as a bus loaded with different parts, which act almost like little sub-personalities, and they're all along for the ride together. But crucially, there is one ideal driver for this bus. That ideal driver is what IFS calls the self. Underneath all the noise, the anxiety, the frustration, and the conflicting parts of your mind, there is an innate, resilient state of calm leadership. And here's the most radical claim of this whole model. This core, this self, cannot be damaged. No matter what you've been through, no matter how much trauma or stress you've experienced, the self is fully intact. It might be hidden, it might be totally obscured by loud passengers on the bus, but trust me, it is always there.
What's really fascinating about this framework is how we can actually identify when this undamaged self is sitting in the driver's seat. It's not some big mystery. We look for two specific sets of qualities that naturally radiate from the self, the 8 C's and the 5 P's. When these are online, your internal system functions harmoniously. Let's look at the 8 C's first. When you're self-led, you naturally observe your internal world and the outside world with a steady presence of calm amidst the chaos. You look at your own mistakes with compassion instead of harsh judgment. You approach strong emotions with curiosity rather than fear. Plus, you have clarity, confidence, the courage to face the unknown, creativity to solve problems, and a deep sense of connectedness to others. Right alongside those C's, the model identifies the 5 P's. When the self is driving, you have patience with your own process, you have a really grounded presence, you show persistence, you maintain a wider perspective on life's challenges, and I absolutely love this one, you have access to playfulness. These are the true markers of a harmonized internal ecosystem. Now here is the absolute game changer, a major paradigm shift. Traditional self-help tells us we have to build these traits, right? It tells us we need to treat patience or courage or compassion like a muscle we have to continuously flex and strengthen. But the IFS model posits something entirely different. You do not build these qualities. They naturally emerge when your protective parts finally relax and step back. You just have to uncover the self. Because your self is already fully equipped. It means we can finally internalize a pretty radical truth. You are not broken. You do not need to be fixed. We can completely drop that exhausting cultural narrative that you're just some broken machine in need of repair. The work isn't construction, it's excavation. It's just noticing who is blocking the driver's seat. But to uncover that self, we first have to meet the passengers up front who love to hijack the wheel. First up are our managers. These are our proactive protectors. They use perfectionism, people-pleasing, self-criticism, or just staying incredibly busy to keep everything under strict control. Their entire job is to organize your life so perfectly that old emotional pain never has a chance to leak out. Well, sometimes the pain leaks out anyway, and that is when the firefighters kick the door down. These are the reactive protectors, the emergency crew. When distress threatens to overwhelm you, firefighters intervene with intense urgency. They will do whatever it takes to put the fire out right now, whether that's impulsive behaviors, destructive habits, explosive rage, or just completely numbing out. The firefighter isn't trying to ruin your life, it's just trying to save it in the only way it knows how, by instantly extinguishing the pain. So, what exactly are the managers and firefighters working so desperately to protect? The exiles. Look at the back of the bust here. These are the vulnerable, often youthful parts of us carrying the heavy burdens of old hurt, shame, fear, and grief.
They hold the pain of the past, and your whole internal system works overtime to keep them locked away so you can just keep functioning in your daily life.
Okay, before you can ask a manager or a firefighter to step back and let the self drive, you have to know what gear your body is in. Think of this as your nervous system's dashboard. When you're in the green, you feel safe and connected. This is where the self drives easiest. When you're in the red, your heart is pounding in fight or flight. This is where managers and angry firefighters live. And when you're in the gray, you are shut down and numb. This is the realm of exiles and numbing firefighters. Checking this dashboard tells you exactly who's currently active. So once you've noticed you're in the red or gray, how do we gently help these protectors step back? We use a practical method called the 5 F's of unblending. Instead of fighting them, you find the part in your body, or emotions. You focus your attention on it. You flesh it out. Like, what is it really like? Then you feel toward it. And hey, if you feel angry at the part, actually scratch that. That's just another part talking. You want genuine curiosity. Finally, you befriend it, asking what it's trying to protect you from. You're treating your parts with curiosity instead of going to war with them. And this leads us to, honestly, one of the most beautiful and compassionate insights of this whole model. Every part of you is trying to help, even the ones causing damage. Remember the firefighter? Every single behavior, even the destructive ones, began as a protector throwing you a rope when it saw you drowning. Sure, eventually, that rope might start to feel like a noose, but the intent was always protection. Nobody in your mind is the enemy. When that truly clicks, when you realize you don't have to fight your parts, hate your habits, or fix yourself to be worthy, man, everything changes. You stop the internal civil war. You can finally look at a protector that has driven you to absolute exhaustion, thank it for trying to keep you safe, retire it with honors, and finally let your core, undamaged self take the wheel. I want to leave you with one final, super powerful daily check-in. The next time a strong emotion hits or you feel that sudden urge to react, just pause and ask yourself, am I curious about this feeling or am I drowning in it? Because if you are curious, your self is driving. But if you are drowning, a part has taken the wheel. So, who is really driving your bus today?